Hey, this is Joe with Grow It Build It, and today I'm going to tell you how to choose a location for your vegetable garden. So before you can actually make a garden and start growing your own vegetables, you are going to have to build your garden. And before you can build your garden, you're going to have to get an idea as to where you would like to put it. So that's what this video is going to be about. What principles do you need to think about when locating your vegetable garden? So if you're new to gardening, this can be a bit overwhelming, all the information flying at you. And like so many things in life, there is no single correct way to garden. Some people do raised beds, some people do in-ground, some people use straw bales, some people do hydroponics with PVC pipe. So this is going to be the first in a series of videos on starting a vegetable garden, detailing what I did, the factors and principles that I used in making decisions, and showing you how. In these videos, I'm not going to tell you what you should do. I'm just trying to give you my perspective and my experience, and hopefully you can use that to better make your own decisions. So with all that, let's figure out where we're going to put this thing. Okay, so there's a number of factors that you really need to consider for choosing your right location, and we'll go through them in order. The first one, though, is going to be maximizing sunlight. The next one we'll talk about will be how well your soil drains. Then we're going to get into choosing good soil or good soil structure if you can, having a convenient water supply and location, and trying to get away from trees and shrubs, and finally making this thing work with your yard and landscaping today as well as tomorrow. Now, there's other factors too that I haven't that they don't apply to everyone. They're in an article that I'll link to below at our website, but these are the main ones we're going to consider. All right, so the first one, maximize sunlight. Photosynthesis is how plants turn sunlight into food, so it makes sense we want to maximize that. You need at least 6 to 8 hours of sun to have a good garden, but try to maximize it. If you can get 12 hours of sun, you should do so by all means. A really good way to figure out that is to just look at an aerial photo of your yard. So here's mine, and if we zoom in, we can see the little black square is my garden right there. If you look to the south, east, and west, there is nothing that could shade that thing. So I'm maximizing my potential for sun. It's really that simple. You don't want to put it right next to a house or something. The next thing we got to cover is soil drainage. So soil drainage is how well water is going to drain from your soil. If it happens too fast, your plants could be drought prone and die from no water. If it happens too slowly, they can drown from root rot. So we really want to take care of this one. Now, if you think you may have a problem or have a lot of low-lying areas, you can actually do a test that I'll put a link to and a card in the top right detailing how to test your soil's drainage. It's a good thing to do if you're unsure, but in general, we can't garden in a swamp. Now, an informal way to test this is to just go out after a heavy rain and walk around your yard. Does it feel squishy? Does it feel squishy in some spots but not others? That can give you a general indication if you may have a problem. So be thinking about that. Now, the next one's going to be like getting good soil or good soil structure. If you have different locations in your yard that you can put your garden, you can go do a quick test to find out what the soil structure is. Soil structure can vary quite a bit from site to site, so if you have differences in different parts of your yard, it's good to know that. You're trying to figure out where it falls on the USDA pyramid, and this simple test I'm showing you really does work. I have a card in the top right and link below to a video on how to do this. It's a 5-minute test, but you want to try to get loamy soil if it is at all possible for you to do so. Because it'll help indicate what your potential is for drainage and all that. At the same time, if you think you've got a good location, do a soil test. These little pH testers are really cheap. I'll put a link to it for Amazon. They're like 15 bucks or less. And they're easy. Just get a soil sample, get the soil sopping wet, and stick the thing in there. It acts like a battery, so it's just going to measure a voltage potential across it. And as you can see here, my meter is right on the red, meaning I'm slightly acidic, which is good. That's kind of what you want. If we take it out, you can see that now there's a gap between the red and the indicator. So yeah, it's a very simple test that you can do. So none of this takes too long, and it can really help you select the right location. The next thing is very important. You want to have a water supply and convenient access. Eventually, your garden's going to get hot and dry out and fall under a drought, which you're going to have to water it. You don't want to be lugging 5-gallon buckets from your house all the way down there. I have 75 feet of hose that I use to set up a sprinkler when I need to water. It's simple and it works, and it's not too hard to do. But making it easy for you to water your garden is important because, like I said, you will have a drought at some point. The next thing is make it convenient. You don't want to have to climb a mountain to get to your garden. Me, I have to walk all the way across my backyard. It takes less than 30 seconds and I'm there. The closer and easier it is for you to garden, the more likely you are to tend it, and you'll have better production because of that. The next thing we're going to talk about is avoiding trees, shrubs, and structures. So trees and shrubs and structures can shade your garden. All of that's bad. But additionally, though, the trees and shrubs, the roots can extend beyond the drip line, which the drip line is where the branches extend to. And once they get beyond that, they can start taking water and nutrients for your vegetable plants. So you don't want that to happen. I'm located near a tree. It hasn't been a big issue. But a general principle is you want to avoid them. I mean, it was that tree or these black locusts, which put runners everywhere. So obviously I took the prayer tree. Now also avoid black walnut trees or pecan trees if you have them. They have a chemical called juglone, which is damaging to a lot of vegetable plants. And then finally, we want to make your garden work with your landscaping now and for the future. So this is actually when we first looked at the house before we even bought it. But we have little kids, we want them to run around, and we want to make sure that wherever we put a garden, it's not going to impede that, but also that there's not going to be some tree that grows up and shades it out in 5 years, or someone's going to build a new house that shades it out. I mean, and make it work with everything. I mean, you have to like your garden looks and where it's located. It'll help you out. The more you love your garden, the better you're going to take care of it, that kind of thing. So with ours, our kids can run around freely, so it meets those needs, and it also looks pretty good where it's at, and it's never going to have a sunlight issue or something like that. All right, there's some other ones that I need to mention. They probably won't apply to most people, but the main one, we'll just go through them quickly. What's the history of your property? Was it ever used as a business or a factory, or was there mining nearby? You just want to make sure there's no chance that you have big, bad pollution there in your soil. Also, if you have a steep hill, try not to garden on that if you can avoid it. Put your hills or your rows across the hill if that's the case, perpendicular to it. I garden on a slope of around 10 degrees or less, and it hasn't been an issue for erosion. Also, do one call, 811, before digging if you're in America. That way you can identify utility lines and you won't damage those and, when you start digging and possibly hurt yourself. Also, more airflow is better. More airflow will dry out plant leaves when you're watering them. And that will help reduce the incidence rate of like powdery mildew and stuff like that. So the more out in the open it is, the better it is. And then I want to talk about Agriculture Extension Office soil testing. Pretty much every county in the United States is going to have an ag extension office, and they will offer cheap or free soil testing. So if you want to know exactly what nutrients you have or don't have, or if there is pollution, you can talk to them about getting that done. If you guys are enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. But let's review. We want to maximize our sunlight for the photosynthesis. We want to make sure our soil will drain well. And if we can get a good loamy soil structure, we want to do so. And make sure that it's convenient to water your garden, and try to avoid the trees and shrubs if you can. And make sure that you like how it's going to look landscaping wise, so on and so forth, from now and for 5 years from now. So that's it, guys. This is going to be part of a series of videos that I will be compiling on starting a vegetable garden. So look out for those, and eventually I'll probably smash them all up into one giant video. But until then, just have to wait for my guess. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up. It helps me out quite a bit. And I hope you guys all have a really good day.